what the do I have to do to make you happy? I've bought properties. I work 7 days a week. I do all this. I've paid off warehouses. I've done everything. I drive a 200,000-mile truck, and I do one thing for myself, and I'm paying for it. And you're gonna rip my head off about it.
Have you been able to heal that wound?
Yeah. So I was just like, I'm not writing that. And then even thinking about it, the other one, it gets me emotional.
What did you allow Max Lewis to feel that you didn't feel?
I don't want to be this guy who's got all this money in no time, and I don't want to be the guy who's got to wash dishes. Put me somewhere in the middle. That'd be an incredible life. Make some money, go use that money. Enjoy it, spend it, invest it, have a good life.
This is an amazing book. Who is Max Lewis? And you wrote the book. Give me a little bit of a hint, like what made you step into writing a book? Super quick.
Okay, so I never had plans to write a book, but I got a lot of my people that knew my story, friends and family, people who were close to me, always kind of like continually suggested that I write a book about my experiences. And I just kind of always like, oh yeah, cool, maybe I'll do it. But I never really seriously considered it. But when COVID happened and I had nothing to do, that's when I was like, you know what, maybe I should try this and as a challenge. And I'm glad I did. It was fun.
So 2 years later, after COVID, this baby was born.
Yeah, approximately, yeah.
So it is kind of like deceiving because this book is like packaged as a business, no, not business, like as a personal development book. But this book is a novela. It has deceit, traición, like it has like all of this. I was not expecting to have this book be and feel so novela-like so soap opera. Like there was like, and death. And I was like, what else could this guy go through that, like it really shook my core.
Nice.
So in a way, the book is called Who is Max Lewis? And it's your story.
Yeah.
But your name is Angel Fernandez.
Correct.
You are Max Lewis here, but you're not.
Correct.
So why disguise your name? Like, what was the whole point in doing so much hard work to change everyone's name in the story? Mm-hmm. What was behind that?
Well, the story is my story, and the story is true. Everything is true in this story in the book. But I didn't want to make the book about me. I wanted to make it about the story, and I wanted people to learn from the story. And I wasn't trying to put a spotlight on myself, and I also didn't want to put a spotlight on the people that are in the book, for personal reasons and privacy. Not everybody wants to be written about, in a story. So I said, you know what? I'm going to change my name. I'm going to change the name of all the characters and all the businesses just so that it doesn't, come back and throw egg on anyone's face. I just wanted people to learn from what I went through. I did, however, learn through trial and error when I was writing. And then I would reread my work. Okay, maybe the reader doesn't really understand what I'm trying to get across, right? So then I rewrite it and re-edit it. And I think I learned that skill. I think I did a pretty good job of painting a picture and explaining things in a way that people understand it, which took a little time. I'll tell you something funny. So when I first started writing, chapter 1, 2, 3, whatever, by the time I finished writing the book, I would read chapter 1 through 5 and be like, man, I was just not a great writer at this time, So I had to go back and re-edit because I was way better at writing and, writing the scene and explaining things by the end of the book than in the beginning. So I kind of went back and rewrote some things just to make sure that the work all felt consistent and congruent. Yeah.
What was the hardest chapter to write?
There was several hard chapters. So chapter 13. So I wrote that chapter in maybe 20 minutes.
Because that one's short. That's one.
Yeah, it's the shortest chapter in the whole book. I wrote that chapter. It felt like 20 minutes. Maybe it was 2 hours. I don't know, but it felt like so fast. And after I wrote it, I just walked away from the computer. I was in the Keys, and I walked away and I was like, I'm not writing anything else today. Like, most days I would write for 12 hours.
That was the chapter where you lost your mom.
Yeah. So I was just like, I'm not writing that. And then even thinking about it, the other one, it gets me emotional.
22.
Just thinking about it. And writing it and having to like relive it. Whew, it's tough.
I want to know, like for the people who haven't written the book, and this is like the closest part of human that I have ever been with you. Can you share what was that part about?
To sum it up without giving away like details of the story, I would say it was about being betrayed by someone that you wouldn't think would betray.
Yeah.
It's tough.
When I read that chapter, this is what I heard. And I want you to, I felt abandoned. I felt betrayal. I felt, there's a line that you said there. It was like, it felt like I was not enough. It felt so real for anybody who has ever loved someone super close. And it's funny that those two chapters are the ones that you're mentioning. Because in one chapter, when you lost your mom, I felt regret. Like there was so much regret. And it was so short. And I was like, why is this chapter so short? Like, yeah. I felt like you took a cutout in that chapter.
Right.
Like it was just like, I'm not even touching that.
Yeah, I didn't want to address it anymore. Yeah. That's all it was.
And in the other one, it felt like it was so needed to like be able to the whole story kind of like, that's like the heart of the wound, everything. And the other one was way more like novela. Like it had all of the elements of novela. And then it was like, and when it was bad, then it got worse. Yeah. And I was like, what?
For real.
I was like, what the fuck happened here? I wonder if, because this was one of the questions I prepared. Have you been able to heal that wound?
Yeah. Yeah, I used something which I often recommend to everyone. Actually, I was on a coaching call this morning with someone that I've been coaching for many years. It's called effective blaming. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you blame someone for what they did to you, what went wrong, how they hurt you. But you have to blame them for all the good that was a result of it, like how you grew. Someone forced you, like if they fired me from my job, but then I became an entrepreneur and a businessman and I made $1 million. Well, when you got fired, you were really upset and you're like, I hate my boss. Can't believe he fired me. He's an SOB. But then fast forward 2 years later, you own your own business and you made $1 million. Well, guess what? You would have never done that or made that money if they didn't fire you. So when you look back, you say, man, thank you for firing me. At the time, I didn't see it, but now I know why. You helped me grow. You helped me become who I need to be. And without that push, I would have never done it myself.
So we don't want to give away from your book everything because I want people to read it. But this person who is really important to you hurt you in so many different ways. And the book kind of like does a very good job at like explaining you're part of the experience in there. You mentioned that, I'm assuming based on what you said, that has been healed.
Yeah.
How is your relationship with that person now?
Good. Yeah, good. Better than before, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other question is, what is the good side of the blaming that comes from that?
Well, for me, it's probably immeasurable. Like I wouldn't be able to quantify it. If you think about it, there would be no book.
Mm-hmm.
maybe I wouldn't have as much money as I have now. I do a lot of philanthropy too. I help a lot of people. I've helped a lot of people. I can't tell you how many. I've done a lot, in many different ways. So, and I'll never know how many people I've actually helped. I'll never know. I will never know how many people have read my book. I will never know money that I've given to charitable organizations. How many people that could have helped. Like we're talking about planting trees earlier. You plant. They say you can count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apple trees in a seed.
But right now you're talking to me about, like, obviously the impact that you have made on others. What did this experience that this human, what did it give you?
Well, that's part of it. Mm-hmm. It's a humongous part of it. But also it gave me, so for example, I sought to learn more, to grow emotionally, spiritually, financially. I pushed myself to, I went to Tony Robbins. I became a platinum partner, traveled with him for a year. I went to the Leadership Academy. I met Keith Cunningham, there's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Uh-huh.
He's the rich dad. Like that Robert Kiyosaki didn't really have like a rich dad. The book is modeled after Keith Cunningham. So I met him and he helped change my life. And in turn, I have used those skills to impact other people. Like in my organizations, anything that I own, I use those leadership skills that I learned to help those people, right? So there's just so many ways. Obviously, financially too, I've made a lot of money. But I think more important than the money is how you can help people.
And all of this because of this person, you give him that credit?
You have to.
Okay.
You have to, because how would all of that have happened if I wouldn't have been like pushed out of the nest, so to speak? You ever hear like, oh, you're going to throw your kid into the deep end and see if, sink or swim? You need that moment. If you don't have that moment, maybe you never learn to swim, right? Like something has to happen. There needs to be a catalyst for change. If not, you live the same life forever. So, and I feel very strongly that everybody has this, like everybody has that moment of like, what is it that changed your life? Like, what was that moment that changed everything for you? Some people, it's a bad car accident. Some people, it's something like what I went through, or a divorce or something like that. But if you look back after, I don't know, a year, 5, 10 years, you look at that and you can say, man, look at all the ways that I've grown because of this horrible thing that happened to me. It's about getting the lesson. Don't let the lesson be wasted, So for me, I couldn't quantify it. It's too much. It's a lot.
Take me through writing that chapter.
That chapter was it's funny about that chapter. I wrote that chapter and I didn't put the part of the part I'm talking about.
Say it. Like they're gonna read it, but like
I didn't put the part of me ending up in the back of a cop car.
Okay.
And I said, I'm not gonna put that in the book. That's crazy. That's just too much. I'm not gonna put it in. There's a lot of things that I didn't put in the book,
Oh, great. Now, there's to be continued. Yeah, well, that's not funny. You don't say that to someone who was super invested in the book.
Well, here's how I looked at it. I looked at it as, okay, some things are not going to serve my personal relationships or the reader.
Okay.
So why put it in there? So I said, there's some things that it's just, I don't need to have that in there. And this was like one of those things that I was like, okay, I'm not going to put that in there. And
what changed your mind?
So I had an assistant that worked for me. And during me writing the book, I was using her and my girlfriend at the time to be my sounding boards. Like I'd be like, hey, I wrote a chapter, read it and tell me what you think. And they'd be like, oh, it's great, or it's not, or whatever, change this or whatever, any recommendations they had for me. And my assistant's like, you didn't put the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I don't want to put that. She's like, you have to put it. You have to put it in there. If you want the book to be everything it should be, you have to write it in there. And I was like, no, You know, I was like, I don't want to write.
That's what I was referring to. Like, and it was bad, and then it got worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just said, all right, I'll write it. You know, I'll write it out. So I wrote it and I put it in there. But it was a hard one to write.
How long did it take you to write that chapter?
I don't know. Some, writing's interesting. Like some days you sit down and you write, like I said, I'll write for 12. I used to try to write for 12 hours every day. And
12 hours?
Yeah, I'll try to write every day for 12 hours. Sometimes it would be more because I would start writing at 10 a.m. I was I had my house in the Keys, and that's where I chose to write so I could be like alone and not bothered. I had like all my notes and all my stuff on my dining room table. I turned it into like a workshop. And I would write from 10 to 10 or 10 to 12. It's a long time. And when you're in the zone, you forget about food, time, everything. I towards like maybe like halfway through the book, what I started doing was I would lay out bread, bananas, things so that I could just like reach over, because if not, I was so invested that I would literally forget to eat for like 7 hours. It's crazy. It was unhealthy. But I got it under control. I made a system and I got it under control. But yeah, I don't know how long it took me to write it. I don't know. It was a long chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was probably a good amount of time.
Was it therapy también?
Yeah, it was very cathartic. I was not expecting that either. And I'll tell you, I had said, like, after I wrote the book, like, the book has already helped somebody. Myself. Before anybody had the book. Because I said, wow, this was great. Because there was so much that I had to like unload that I didn't know that I was like carrying it around. And I think writing is really good. And I think reliving it obviously sucks, but also, as I mentioned before, doing the effective blaming, because I do it throughout the book. I'm like, yeah, this and this happened. And then I used it for fuel. You can also use it to feel sorry for yourself and not do anything. But I would turn around and say, okay, I'm going to use this for fuel. This is a motivator for me.
And that's the disguise of the book being I think it's like a personal growth book. That's why it has reflections, right, and like all, and worksheets and everything. But the entire time I was like, why change his name? Why? Like, what it was in my head, it was like, who's he trying to protect? Like, or in my head, I was more thinking of like, I don't have the word disassociation, which is one, but it was like a way of like looking at it from like the eyes of an outsider and like looking it in and being able to be objective. And at the same time, here's a question for you. Max Lewis is you, but it's not you.
Correct.
So what did you allow Max Lewis to feel that you didn't feel yourself?
I think the best way I could answer your question is it wasn't necessarily about like the name. It was more about like confronting the past,
okay,
which I had not done. Like to the extent that I did with writing a book about it, right? And again, like I don't think it had anything to do with the names of the characters or anything like that. It was more about like thinking about it. You got 37 chapters of story there that happened, and looking at each part of it and saying, hey, you know what I learned here? I learned this. You know what I learned in the second one? I learned this. You know what I learned in the third one? Like, who does that with their life? How many people do you know have sat down for 2 years and dissected their life and thought everything that happened to me, good or bad, how did I benefit from it? And how can someone or the people around me benefit from it? I think that's like I really don't know many people who've done
People
that.
would say, dude, we don't all have 2 years
Yeah,
to like sit down and do that.
Exactly.
You are blessed to do that, and let's go there. So,
right. So, and I think I would assume what I tried to do is make that about the reader, and went with the reflections and the questions. So I asked questions so I could be like, okay, I'm not on this journey alone, right? Like in chapter 1, whatever the thing is, so what are your beliefs around money and things like that? It's like, okay, now come on the journey with me. Like, let's Let's do some of this reflection together.
But there's a moment in the book where even before you sold the business, where you were able to say, fuck it, I'm leaving everything. If you want to do this, you're on your own. Do it yourself. And you walk out and you're like, oh shit, what did I do?
Right.
But in that moment, then you're like, oh, am I really afraid? Am I not afraid? Like this, I'm giving away part of the book. Do not be mad at me. I'm just trying to make a point. Like the dude went to like learn archery and like all these things that I'm like,
Fun.
to each their own. But you arrived to this place where most people are like, I want to retire. And you got to do that before you even sold your business because you made yourself some space to feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. Most people live or have an identity based on their work. Like who am I outside of? And at least society usually does that for us. Oh, what do you do? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm an architect. Oh, like everything is built around this identity.
Right.
In that moment, what did you learn about yourself? Like how did you unravel this identity crisis after you were no longer identified as this entrepreneur?
Right. Well, I realized that I'm not my job, and I think that so many, I feel like almost everybody struggles with that. Like what you do for work is like who you are. And it's like, no, that's not who you are. That's just something that you do. Like one of the first interviews I did for the book on this podcast with Jonathan Wiseau, he's like, oh, you're an author. You're an author. I was like, I don't consider myself an author. He's like, well, you wrote a book. I said, well, I wrote a book, but I'm not like an author. I wrote a book. He's like, so writing a book is not something you are, it's something you do. And I said, yeah, it's something I did. Like, I'm not like a career author. I just happened to write a book, So I don't make my money off of writing books. I just wrote a book. And I think that people kind of get that little, and I was that guy too, right? I was like, this is all I do. This is all I know. This is the only thing that's important. I spend all my time doing this activity. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm trying to relax and sleep and eat something. And then I go back to working again, So to walk away from it, it felt crazy. Because I was like, this is the only thing I've been doing for years, right? So I had to like learn. And it took time. And you saw all the things that I did, like to do other stuff.
And I was like,
it was
a good type of jealousy. I was just like, ay, quien tuviera la suerte. I was just like, holy crap.
But I'm going to tell you something, because you brought up a good point. Like in that first time that I said like, oh, I'm retiring, it's not like I had a fortune of money. Mm-mm. I didn't have not even close to what I have now. I just made a decision that I wasn't going to like do that for the rest of my life. Like I didn't want to be working for the rest of my life and not experience life. You could do almost everything I do that brings me the most joy costs absolutely no money. Go to the beach, play with my dog. Like that doesn't cost anything. So when you're prioritizing and you're like, okay, I want a Ferrari, I want a Lamborghini, I want this mansion, I want those things, they'll make you momentarily happy, but they don't make you happy. Mm-hmm. It's entertaining, it's exciting for a little while. But real happiness, real joy, you have to manufacture it yourself. And it's often found in things that cost nothing. So when I made that decision, obviously I was still young. I didn't have a crazy amount of money. I had a very small house. My house was 1,200 square feet. And I decided this is enough. I have a pickup truck. I have a house. I have enough money to survive. I am not flashy. I don't need a Rolex or anything. I can live like this. And I can do things that make me happy, like archery and bowling and fishing, that don't cost a lot of money. And I don't have to kill myself anymore, because I've felt like I killed myself for a very long time. And I know I did. So it wasn't like I won the lottery. I decided I've won the lottery because I have enough. I have enough to live a life that makes me happy. And a lot of people, I feel like they forget that. They forget what they don't realize when they've won, you know? Today in my coaching call today, the person I was talking to has made millions of dollars and complaining about having to pay an attorney $10,000 for something. I said, let me ask you a question. How much did you make this year? 3 million. I said, you made 3 million, you're complaining about 10,000. What do you want the 2,990,000? What are you going to do with it? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Focus on everything that has gone right. Why are you focusing on the stupid $10,000? Really? We could take that out of your bank account. You wouldn't even know you had it. You wouldn't even know you lost it. But you're ruining your day and your week over that money. Like, doesn't make any sense. If you go back to when you started, did you ever think you're going to make $3 million in a year? No. Said, you won already.
In business, you do forecast. In business, right. You kind of prepare like, oh, you know that, you know, the price of this is going to be higher in this period and right. And you kind of create, like, that's kind of like a superpower I witness in you doing as you share your story.
Right.
My question comes more from the space of you've had already been forced into, or you put yourself in this position where you're like, oh, now I'm not my job. And how do I do this? And like you went through that. Take me through there. You say, F you, I'm going to do my own thing. What happened the first day? What happened the second day? After like when the dust settled, what happened? Like tell me like about your experience.
Well, as you read, I started to learn a lot about things that I liked or didn't like. Things that I never made time for, which you read that part too. Like, and I had all the time to do it and no one to do it with. I think it was just about like getting in touch with yourself and like learning more about yourself. Think about it. You spend so much time working. You're doing activities that are designed by someone else for you to do the entire day. You're not doing something that you want to do all day. And when you have that free time to kind of discover, like lots of free time, you learn a lot. And, you know, a big part for me was going and getting baptized. It's huge. Like, it's the number one event of my life in Israel in the Jordan River. And I don't know, I just kind of like reprioritized everything. Like, money was important, but it isn't everything. I just felt like I just got more in touch with myself. I was more about like doing stuff for me and others and not so much doing things to make money. I know people who have hundreds of millions of dollars and they're not happy. So it's not, you know, you have to learn it. Like, everyone wants to find that lesson out for themselves, right? Like, they want to like, give me the money and I'll let you know how it goes. There's a guy who says this. He's hilarious. But it's true, you know, like, it will buy comfort. You could do fun stuff, but it doesn't make you genuinely happy. So I think that time period for me was great in that sense, like developing myself, like growing myself.
What did you learn about yourself that you didn't know?
I think there's so many things, but I think one of the things that I learned, sometimes the things that you dream about doing all day long, you finally get to do it. It wasn't that great, you know? And then other things you're like, that you never thought about doing or never experimented with or considered or have never been exposed to, then you discover and you're like, wow, this was amazing. I would have never tried surfing in Hawaii or whatever, you know, like, it's never been something I would consider doing. But being open to new experiences, you know, is exciting. And I just like learned more about like what I liked to do, and to not take, you know, business so seriously in a sense. Like, I still take it pretty serious, obviously, but I always kind of like remind myself, okay, I come first. If I'm not here, there's no business. If I'm not happy, what's the point of making money? If, you know, you have all the money in the world, but you got no time to spend it, what's the point? I got $100 billion. I can't, man. I have to work every day, 8 to, you know, whatever. Why? So what do you want the money for? Give it to somebody else. You're not going to use it. I've been there. Work so much that you don't have time to spend any money. Never. I used to tell that to my friends all the time. I make a ton of money. I have zero time to spend it.
Was that before? Or?
That was before.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was younger, when I was starting off, I started with nothing. So then when I started making what I considered to be a lot of money at that time, and it was for all intents and purposes, I was making like a fortune compared to everybody I knew. But I was driving a pickup truck, looked super dirty, haven't cut my hair in who knows how long, beat up, didn't go to the gym. My workout was, manual labor at the business. So it's like, how long can you sustain that? And not only how long can you sustain that, what is the point? Like, where's the finish line? And that's what I kind of was alluding to earlier. Like, people don't know when they've already won. If your goal is to make $10,000 and now, like my friend, you have 3 million, when is it gonna be enough? Did you forget that 3 million was a fortune compared to when you started? I think realizing that and understand, and it's still a lesson that I'm still applying to myself today. Sometimes I still get into that, oh, well, man, I don't want to spend that much money. I'm like, well, hold on a second. I make a lot of money. Spend it. One of my good friends used to say, the best experience with money is when you make it and when you spend it. Putting it in a bank account, that you're not happy with that. Like, when you make it, you're happy. When you spend it, you're also happy. But just holding on to it, it's like, that doesn't make you happy. I was like, well, interesting perspective. It's true, though. It's true. You make it, you're happy. And then you buy a sandwich and it's delicious and you're happy to spend that money to eat that delicious sandwich, right? So it makes sense. I had never operated like that. I was like, you make money, you don't spend any of it, you save all of it, and you invest it. That's what you do. That was my MO for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was not having fun. I was not having fun at all. I had a Ford F-150, 200,000 miles, roll down windows. I was making like $1 million a year. It's like a long time ago, not now $1 million, like $1 million. And I lived in an efficiency. Like, it was crazy, it was crazy. I was just like, make the money, save the money, invest the money. No fun, no nice shoes. It was, I was just working, that was the only gear that I had. So that sabbatical helped me find that other gear. Like, you know what? I can do fun things and experience life, and it doesn't have to all be about work. Something I often tell people, like, there's a guy somewhere, okay? Mm-hmm. And maybe we could use Warren Buffett as an example. He goes to work every single day. Mm-hmm. He's there from, let's say, 8 to 5, and he's making hundreds of millions of dollars. There's a lot of guys like this, mm-hmm. Okay? He does that every day, and he doesn't do anything other than that, which this is pretty similar to Warren Buffett's life. He's obsessed with money. He's obsessed with making money. But if you look at him, he's got no time really to spend it. He's got a whatever car, and he lives in a very small house, considering that he's like one of the richest guys in the world. Okay, so he's got all the money with no life. Then on the opposite side of the spectrum, you have a guy who's a waiter, and he makes minimum wage, but he travels from country to country. He saves up just enough money to buy a plane ticket or a bus ticket or a tram ticket or something to move around. And when he gets into a new town, he gets another job, waiting tables or washing dishes, and he tours the city and he skateboards around and he does all these things. He lays in the park and takes naps and does yoga and whatever. And then when he's done, he's like, oh, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to go to the Netherlands. And he finds a way to get to the Netherlands, and he lives this like incredible life of a wandering person. Now, he doesn't have much comfort. He doesn't have, a lot of nice things, but he's living like a very free life other than the times he has to do some work. Put me in the middle. Put me in the middle. I don't want to be this guy who's got all this money in no time, and I don't want to be the guy who's got to wash dishes. Put me somewhere in the middle. That'd be an incredible life. Make some money, go use that money. Enjoy it, spend it, invest it. Have a good life. Don't just work and save and work and save and work and save and work and invest and never experience life. There's so much to life. It's like insane. Even I think about it. I've traveled the world, and I still think, wow, there's so much I haven't done. And I can do. So why not do it?
What are some of those things? Like, what would you like to do? What are things that are now like?
I have a list. I have a list in my bedroom, like my bucket list was like 200 things long, and I have 47 left.
What are some of the things that are pending?
One of the things, I'm going to Morocco next month for 3 weeks. Japan, but Dubai, I've been invited a bunch of times. I've never gone. Just travel places, go see things. I want to see a maple tree factory in Canada. Well, I've been to Canada a bunch of times. I've just never seen like how they extract the maple from the tree, like random stuff like that. It's just cool. It's cool to see. It's like we could do that right now. Like one of the things about travel, you hear people, man, one day I wish I could, for example, I wish I could go to Canada. I wish I could go to Canada. It's like, dude, you know that right now we could stop this interview, get in a car, drive to the airport. What's the next flight to Canada? And we will be in Canada by nightfall. Like you could do that. It doesn't always have to be someday. It could be like, all right, let's do it today. It's not convenient, but before you know it, you'll be back. You know, and I've done things like this. I even write about it in my book.
I remember.
Right? And I'm just like, all right, well, why not go today?
Texas.
Yeah, let's go right now. Let's do it. But it's a really cool way to live. And usually, again, I know life's not perfect. Sometimes, you need a babysitter, you need these other things, but it can get done. And the funny thing is, when there's an emergency and it has to get done, it happens. But when it's for something for you and it needs to be fun, it's like, oh, it can wait for later. But if I broke my leg, oh man, I need you to watch my kids for the next 2 days, somebody will be like, oh yeah, we'll step up. All right? And they'll figure it out. But if it's for something that you've always wanted to do, a vacation, people they push it. Oh, well, maybe next year, this time I didn't have too much time. All these excuses come like, dude, when there's an emergency, things happen. Do it for yourself.
Like, you just reminded me of exactly that, the power of like figuring out that why not? I can just get on a plane and be in Texas today for like nothing and take this course, which I thought that course should have been like sponsored by. It was like such a good commercial.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I agree with you.
I was like, I even like tap market, like literally.
A lot of people have asked me about it. Yeah, a lot of people.
I was like, because what did you learn in that? Like, what was so good about that? Like, so for context, sucked at accounting. Mm-hmm. So do I. Have no idea when they're talking about like all this beautiful language that sounds like Japanese. By definition, you could be reading in Japanese and it would be exactly the same feeling. Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Check. You say that it's like an MBA in like...
Yeah, it's called the 4-day MBA with Keith Cunningham.
Okay. Yeah. What the hell do you do in that? Like, why is it such a good thing? Say more, please, sell it.
Yeah, so he's not doing it live anymore. He's doing virtual events, I believe, still. And I do think that they also have like pre-recorded versions of it, which in my opinion will never be the same as going there in person, but at least it's better than nothing. So what he created was basically a way to like dumb down all these complicated accounting terms for people who had no awareness around it, no education around it, I should say. And that event was like insane for me. It was 4 days. And he literally holds your hand like if you're a kindergartner and walks you through. You know absolutely nothing about accounting. And by the end, you know pretty much, you're not an accountant, but you know everything you need to know and then some by the end, right? But it's not just accounting.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Because it's
culture.
Okay.
What he teaches on culture and is probably more valuable than anything he spoke about in accounting, which is really on how to treat people in your organization, how to pay them, how to incentivize them, how to create the right environment for people that work for you and with you. To me, that was the biggest game changer of everything. You saw the vending machines and all these things. It's like the most ridiculous, smallest changes that I made to my company were so impactful. And all it really was asking them questions, asking how they felt. What do you guys want? You want this microphone to be here? You want it to be there? Everyone's here? Okay, put it over there. It's fine, right? Like, you guys are doing the work. I want you to be happy. Like, really, when I changed the gear and made it less about how much money I'm going to make and how happy I could make my employees, I started to make way more money. It was like a wild fire, like just because then everybody was motivated and supercharged, and it kind of just took on its own life, life of its own. So that, what he opened my eyes to in that was really cool. Like, such a big difference. Like, the biggest change I think that I had in my company was going to the 4-day MBA.
So that's why, like, it was a whole chapter dedicated, just to him, and to like the work he does. Yeah,
it was amazing. And he told me I graduated. Like, yeah, he told me I went back to see him, and he had me like stand up in front of the class, and he tells everybody I graduated. It was crazy because then everybody was like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "Oh, fuck." But it was cool. It was like having your dad say he's proud of you or something,
Yeah.
That was a really cool experience. That was another like great experience.
Which brings me, you just said your makes me feel like my dad was proud of me. At the beginning of the book, you speak about how at a very early age you associated making money to making your father proud.
Right.
How has that impacted you in both ways, like in the positive and in the negative? Like that is a two-sided coin.
Yeah. So first, I would say that is of his design, first of all, right? Because that's what my father valued. But maybe your father says, "Hey, I'm happy if you are just a good person. And we know you're a good person if you give food to people who need it on the weekends," So that's the first part. It's like, yeah, I knew that that's what was going to make him proud because that's what he was teaching me. But maybe someone else's father has other values and morals and things like that, and they want to teach their kids something else. So that's kind of like what I knew I needed to do to make him happy. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's what everybody needs to do.
Got it.
You get me?
I understand.
Okay.
And I'm noticing a pattern. Usually I ask you a question and you're really good at seeing how it's going to help someone else. Like, you're
right.
projecting on others.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back in because I want to go inward.
Okay.
How did it affected you? Like, what impact did it make
Okay.
that gave you good and also bad? Like,
okay, so good was obviously it was a good habit, like to try to make money because you need money to live, you need money to eat and enjoy life. It helps when you have money. Bad, I would say, like, I remember one time I was very young, probably 22, and my personal dream at that time was to have a Porsche. Okay. So I had a dream of having a Porsche, and you got to remember where I came from. I was making $65 a day, whatever. So after some time of running my business and making money, and I bought a couple properties and I paid them off. So I wasn't like your average 22-year-old. I already probably had $1 million, $2 million. I don't know, maybe 3, I don't know. I had money and I lived in an efficiency, driving that beat up pickup truck. And one of my friends was older than me. He would always make fun of me for living in an efficiency and driving a truck. He's like, "What the fuck do you want all this money for if you live like a bum?" So I was just like, I learned that from my father. Like, you have to be like this. So, that's what I was doing. So my friend tells me, "Listen, I know a guy that has a Porsche dealership, and he will not make you like." Basically, he could get the car that I wanted and put the wheels on it that I want, the steering wheel, all this stuff, like basically custom make it, but it was used. Not very used, like 2 years used. So he's like, it's a very unique opportunity because you can get exactly what you want. He has a bunch of Porsches there, whatever. So I'm like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. Well, how much would it cost? He's like $40,000. And I said, well, $40,000 at the time was, still a good amount of money. And I said, well, I wouldn't want to spend $40,000. I'd rather invest it in properties. He says, finance it and you'll pay like $1,000 a month. And I was like, oh, I make a lot of money. And my rental properties could pay that easily because I was probably collecting like, I don't know, $10,000-$12,000 a month at that time. So I was like, yeah, this is no money. So I go with my friend and I order this car, build it up how I want. And I come home with it, so excited. I came to my office. My mom was still alive. I came to the office so excited that I achieved this. Like I did all this other achievements that were not really exciting for a young man. You know, who the fuck wants to buy a warehouse at 20 years old? Like that's not exciting, you know. That sucks.
You loser.
Yeah, it's like you bought a warehouse. Wow, how fun, you know. So I buy this car. It's literally like the car of my dreams. I pull up to the office. My mom is there. My dad's there. And my mom's excited for me. She called it a Ferrari. It was a Porsche. And my dad was furious. Furious. I can't believe you wasted money on this and you're throwing the money away. And he just went out. And I started crying. And I was like, can I curse?
Yes, please.
What the fuck do I have to do to make you happy? I've bought properties. I work 7 days a week. I do all this shit. I've paid off warehouses. I've done everything. I drive a 200,000-mile truck and I do one thing for myself and I'm paying for it. And you're going to rip my head off about it. I was like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? Have no life, right? So that was like a bad moment, obviously. It sucked because I was like, so what's the point? You know, and my mom really defended me and she was like, yeah, let him spend his money. He's making it. Like, let him do whatever.
Let the poor boy be happy for the love of God.
It's not like I was wasting money. I could have literally
did not steal it, by the way.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's like a negative part of it, you know, where it's like, why is that more important than your son's happiness?
Yeah.
And what do you want me to do? Like save $100 million and then what?
And die?
Right. Like, what's the point? So I think in that aspect, like it's always made our relationship like about that. Like, I'm going to be proud of you if the more and more money you make, but it's like, okay, how about just be proud of me that I'm your son and I'm healthy and I'm a good guy. And why does it have to be money related? Not that it has to be, but that's the undertone, right? So, and it's not like he's ever asked me for any, he's never asked me for a dime, but
I think that it was an agreement you guys made that it was unsaid. It was like
right.
like a subconscious agreement that he was always celebrating when you were
right.
deal making better and like all of these things. And he was so invested on that. And I wonder, based on what you said, what part of his story, like when did he learn that? Because at some point he had to learn, like he learned that maybe that was his definition of success, right?
Well, you know, you got to think he came from a much different, you know, world than I did. He came from Cuba. I think he dropped out of school when he was like 8 years old or something to work and throw bricks on top of a roof at a construction site. Like, it wasn't about buy your stuff, yourself nice stuff. It was about survive, you know? And my grandfather probably instilled the same thing into him. So for him, success is the same thing his father taught him, which is make as much money, bring it home for the family so we don't have to suffer. But the funny thing is, ties into what I said earlier, you need money to eat. You need money to drink. You need money for some clothes. But when you already have that money, he just never it never added up for him. Like, okay, I have money now. I don't need to suffer or struggle anymore.
Yeah, he had his basics covered.
Right. Your necessities are covered. But I think that's like a gear that he never really found in his own life to say like, okay, yeah, I'm not there anymore. I've taken a couple steps up the ladder, so I don't have to live. Well, I'm saying in his own life.
Oh, okay.
He could say, I don't have to live like this person anymore. Now I'm this person. And it's like what I said earlier. It's like, okay, sometimes you start out with a goal and then you surpass the goal and you have to recognize, okay, I reached my goal or I passed my goal. Let me take a little time to celebrate.
Yeah.
Whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
Go on a vacation, buy a t-shirt, whatever. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. And my father is one of those people. He's he's never really been like, I deserve to buy myself a Porsche, you know? You get me? Like, I think that's something that he could do better on. I mean, a lot of people, even myself, but
you know what I witnessed? You in the moment, because you were talking from your heart, you label it as something bad, but I actually witnessed the opposite. I witnessed a young man who for the first time stood up to the men who he loved and admired the most, where he felt at that moment like, why am I not enough for you?
Yeah.
And actually like voiced his truth.
Yeah.
How did he receive it? Did he never question you again? Like,
I wouldn't say he never questioned me again. I kind of like didn't discuss it with him again. Like I didn't ask him for permission or ask for his approval for things that I wanted to do after that. I was just like, I'm not going to ask him because I know he's going to tell me. He's going to say, don't do that or whatever. So I kind of didn't do that. But I do agree that with what you said, like this whole standing up thing, which I've had moments in my life like that I'm like, okay, enough of this and I deserve more and whatever. And I just don't think that's something that I can ever like change with him, or it's just how he is,
Yeah.
And accepting that is, I think, maturity. It's not ideal, but you can't change anyone really. So although sometimes you'd like them to be proud of you or to accept you how you are or whatever, you have to remember that would be nice, but you need to be okay even if they don't. You need to be your own biggest cheerleader, essentially.
I don't know why it just took me back to a part of your book where you went to your father and you're like, dude, do something about this. Help me out. Like
nothing.
And in that moment, he also felt powerless. Like that, I got that from that moment. Like he felt like I have done my part, but like there's nothing else that I can do.
Right.
And then when the poor thing tried to help,
it got really
bad. And I was like, I could imagine that conversation. Like when he called you and he's like, well, please don't be mad at me, but I did this and I was really trying to help. But like, it just backfired and I'm sorry.
Yep.
What did you feel at that moment? Because that's a moment of like, okay, fine. Thank you for like helping, but like, please do not help me again. Like, it's like both like happiness and like, oh no.
I didn't think thank you for helping me. I was like, WTF. And I remember I opened the blinds of my house and I was like,
what the
fuck? You know what I thought about doing at that moment? I thought about running out the backyard and jumping the fence and like running away. That's what I thought about, because I was like, you don't sabe lo que me espera.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when I opened that thing, I said, what the fuck is this? Like, what's happening? That was scary. I was really scared. And it got worse, obviously, as you know.
If you guys want to know, you have to read the book. Just saying. Just saying. Like, I'm serious. Well, the story transcends to you actually selling your business to the tune of $37 million, by the way, which, by the way, was a steal. It was a steal. Because according to your calculations, was worth 47. Like, I was like, yeah, how the Fluffingtons does this guy goes? And he was just like, here's the math. The math says it's 47 million. But don't worry, I don't want 7 million. I'm going to give you guys a deal. I'm going to give you guys a deal. It's 37 million because 37 was just a number that came out of the ethos one day. And like, it was just like, I'll choose 37. I didn't even choose it. I didn't even choose that number. I wrote it without even thinking about it. Just it's 37 didn't out of think nothing. About it. So weird, right? Isn't that weird? Yeah. Literally, I was on the phone and I went like that. I wiped it off and I got that marker and I just went and just wrote that number. That's the new number.
I never thought about it before. Nothing.
I was once I was like I was like, oh, I don't need a broker. I can do this on my own. And I was like, okay, dude, like what? Like I'm like reading and I'm like, he did it. Okay, fine. Then he goes, he asks 3 businesses, he gets, and at the end of the story, like obviously he said he sold this business. So you actually sold your business for 37 million after how many hours of back and forth? It was like
a negotiation?
Yeah.
It was a good part of a day, like maybe 5 hours or something in an office in my conference room. It was cool, let me tell you. It was fun. And I was very calm. I was very relaxed considering everything I had going on. Because you want to know something that I always say? I don't like debate my opinion. I negotiate with facts. And that's the best way to negotiate. I could tell you how I feel. I could tell you what I think. I could talk about a projection, but nothing, you cannot debate a fact with me. You understand? Mm-hmm. Like, and if I give you facts based off of data or something that's happened, what are you going to tell me? And that's my negotiation tactic. Like, let's talk about the facts. The company makes this much money. It should be worth X. It should be worth Y. Like, facts. That's the best way to negotiate. There's no fluff. There's no bullshit. There's no salesmanship. Facts. And if the number isn't where I need it to be, go make it happen. Mm-hmm. So that it is where you need it to be.
Yeah, that was impressive. Like that part of you borrowing from your own experience to be able to come up with a strategy cool. So that you could present something to them that was like, it was very straightforward. Okay, you sold the business, you used 10% of your earnings to give back to your employees as a thank you. What happened to you next? Like, what was the next version of you after that? Because this is just the book now.
Right.
What happened?
Next version, I invested into a bunch of properties. I have a loan business. Got a lot of business interest. Bought the house in the Keys, obviously. Townhouse. Bought a boat. Fished a lot. Wrote a book.
You're writing another book?
No, that one.
Oh, I was like,
You're talking about after it. At the end of that story.
At the end of this story, yeah.
I did the kids book though. That was a pretty cool little project. Just investing into things. Relaxing, enjoying life. I bought a nice house not far from here. Then I bought the one next to it. I made like a compound. So I can have like a big man cave. Just enjoying life and helping people. I spend a lot of time helping people. I coach a lot of people. I don't charge them. I just help people when I can or when I feel like they're put in my path to help them.
So let's talk about how we started the conversation before, which nobody saw the conversation, or maybe you see parts of the conversation because we recorded behind the scenes. But a lot of people would think, oh, he did the book because it's a business model.
Right.
Right?
It's not.
And there's a lot of money to be making in books.
No, there's not.
Let's debunk what it is like to actually write a book. Like, tell us the painful story. Like, there's businesses that are like, write a book so you can make money, so you can be a first seller and blah, blah, blah.
I bet most of those people
can we talk about the behind the scenes of that?
Yeah, it's funny because I was at a book signing in Boston recently. So my book signings are unique. I give away all the books. I don't have anybody buy any books for me. And when I'm asked about, that question, basically, I see a lot of people who write books to try to promote whatever it is that they're selling. But I'm not selling anything. Like there's been shows that they've invited me on and they're like, oh, you got to pay, $10,000 to be on my show. I was like, I'm not going to pay to be on any show. Oh, but you can promote your stuff. I'm like, I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm just trying to help people. That's literally what the whole premise of the book is to help people. So I'm not your guy. If you want me to give you money, that's not going to happen because I'd rather give it to the orphanage that I sponsor in Dominican Republic, So the process for me was extremely challenging because I did not use a ghostwriter. I wrote the book myself. I did not know how to type at the time of me taking on this, challenge.
So hold on, rewind for a second. So it's not a business strategy. You're not doing, like, you don't even have a computer to write it on. Why did you went through 2 years of painful writing? Like, well, like, give us the behind.
I felt like that's what I was being guided to do.
Okay.
I had a lot of people close to me, my friends and family, would tell me, "Hey, you should really write a book about what happened. This story's crazy. This story's crazy." And after like maybe 10 people saying that, I started to consider it because I was like, man, everybody tells me the same thing, and I guess maybe it's God telling me you're gonna do this at some point, so you could.
You're gonna do it
an hour later, right?
Or you're gonna
do it. So, during the time of COVID, I was super bored. I had nothing to do. And I'm, entrepreneur mindset type guy, like always got to be doing something. So I said, you know what, maybe now's the time to take on this challenge of writing a book. I've never thought about writing a book. I don't know how to type. I don't know how to do any of these things. It's a worthy opponent, like challenge. So I, believe it or not, it was funny. I started writing the book by hand with a pen and paper, writing it by hand. And then every time I had to edit something, I'm like, oh, shit, how do I edit this? And then I like put a line and put another thing. I really meant to say this, like it was like crazy. And I said, oh, shit. So I really tried. I would like every time I'd be on a plane, I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write the book. And I did that for, I don't know, like a couple weeks or something. And then I stopped. It's like, I can't do this. This is a mission. There's no way I'm going to ever do this. And then I said, okay, one day I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but I have to buy a laptop, but I don't know how to type. Right? So I was like, fuck, this is gonna be, So my girlfriend helped me. We bought a laptop for $600. She showed me how to use it. And in the beginning, I was like, like really looking for.
Where's the A? Hold on.
It was crazy. It was crazy, man. I was like, how do you save it? Or like sometimes the computer would turn off. I'm like, oh my God, I lost the whole fucking book. It was funny, but
I don't think it felt funny at that moment.
It did not feel funny, but it was definitely, I learned a lot. But by the end, I'll tell you, I was like typing without even looking at the screen, at the keyboard, which is cool because you think, man, you've written so many words that your muscle memory just kind of picks it up, which is great, which I probably lost by now because I haven't written anything else. But it was just cool to see how
By the way, God told me. No, I'm just kidding.
You're writing another book, the sequel. So yeah, learning about that whole industry. And honestly, like I feel, maybe I'm wrong. I was like, man, all these companies are just out for your money. And again, my angle is not to sell or make money off of people. It's just to help people. So I'm like, I'm not promoting anything. I'm not selling anything. So I decided I'm going to self-publish instead. And that book, the way you see it, was the first one I designed, which is a special edition book, which you'll get. And the format, like the spacing, the font, I picked everything that you see there.
Mm-hmm.
I've picked or designed. It was a lot of work for someone like me. And I feel like, if I had to write it again, like if ChatGPT had existed the way, I probably wouldn't have written the book. I would have been like, oh no, tell the thing that this and that happened, then write the book. Like I've like fucking 2 years writing a book by hand, coño. But it did help me, so I'm happy with it. But yeah, that whole experience was very very challenging because I wanted to like control it. And again, it was very important that I wrote it. So I'm like, well, you didn't write a book if you didn't write it. Or, oh, why don't you get someone to help you? I was like, no, I don't want anybody to help me. I want to write it. I want to learn. I had to learn about commas and apostrophe, grammar and this word. And I spent a lot of time on the thesaurus, like way more time than you would ever imagine, looking for the right words for what I was trying to convey. And,
How many times did you read the book as you were like writing?
More than anyone else has read, I'll tell you that much.
175 times.
I would write. So I will tell you something interesting. So when for the audiobook, I was going to do, did
you read?
I was going to, and I tried it and I realized how hard it is. And then I also said, well, if I'm reading it, what's the point of changing the name? Because I was never going to do interviews, anything. I was never going to show my face, anything. So I said, no, I can't read it. I have to hire someone. So I held auditions and I picked the perfect guy after giving like 100 auditions. And he would read it and send me a chapter for me to listen to and approve. So the cool thing about that was when he would send me a chapter, I would listen to it and I'm like, oh, no, I could write that better. And I make a note. 4 months of that. Because every time he'd send me something, I'm like, I can explain that better. Or that part, I think the reader could understand it better. Like now that I've heard it, you know, and these narrators, they're like actors, right? I was like, now that I've heard it, I can write that paragraph better, or that word could be better, or that sentence could be better.
So you did the written book and the audiobook at the same time?
No.
They were not launched?
I wrote the book. Okay. I thought I was done. You know how many times I closed the laptop and I was like, I'm done. The book is done. Probably 30 times. And when I was done
Just kidding.
and I did the audiobook, I was like, fuck, I'm not done. And it just edits after edits. I would like rewrite it. Hey, read it to me, you know, whatever. And you have to wait for the guy to have the time to read it and send it. So it was just like it was a whole nother challenge.
So then here's what I'm understanding. You did the written part, of course, perfect, approved the audio guide, but the book was not published.
No.
Oh, that gave you the freedom to be able to change
Correct.
stuff. And you did self-publish?
Excuse me?
You self-published?
Yeah. On Amazon, yeah. But it's like Barnes and Noble's got a bunch of places now, but I did self-publish, yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. But what would be your advice to someone who's trying to enter the world of becoming an author?
There is a video on YouTube by Chandler Bolt. It's called How to Write a Book in a Weekend, which is not true. You're not going to write a book in a weekend. Or if you do, the book's going to suck. But he gives you like the framework of how to organize your thoughts, like towards the end of the video. It's a short video, like maybe 15 minutes or something. And he basically will teach you, like, for example, I want to write a book about hunting, right? So he'll show you like, okay, what are the different elements of hunting? So guns, we're going to talk about guns in chapter 1. What are the type of guns? There's rifles, there's handguns, there's bows and arrows, there's knives. You know, these are the type of weapons you could use to hunt. What are the areas you're going to hunt in? Okay, we're going to hunt in, what are we hunting? Deer, bears, moose, whatever. Okay, if you're hunting deer, you're going to go to Montana, Missouri, Texas. These are all the states. Okay, what kind of deer in these states? This state has white.
So he defragments the entire.
He shows you how you should do it. You got to do it in your own story. But it helped me like, okay, these are the things that happened. What are the topics that I want to go over, right? And put them in. So then when I finish writing on one topic, I'm like, okay, what's my next topic? Okay, white-tailed deer. Okay, what do I want to say about white-tailed deer? They taste good, they're whatever. And I'd write something. What was cool about that too is when you start to write about that, you'll naturally go into something else on occasion. Not every time. You say, oh, by the way, deer can smell you from 500 feet. You didn't even have that there. So don't wear cologne. Don't be downwind from them. Wear camouflage, whatever. And that becomes like a whole nother part of the story that you weren't even planning on writing. But it helps you get there. And then you go to the next thing. And then after I wrote everything or each chapter, I would revisit it and be like, okay, what's not necessary?
You are editing it.
Look at the size of the book. It's a big book.
Was it bigger than this before?
It could have been. Be like, well, what's not necessary? It's not a monster, but it's big enough.
But I think it's deceiving.
Yeah.
And I think it's deceiving because, no, not only that. It's deceiving because it has reflection pages. It also has like workbooks. Yeah. So that adds to the thing. Because some chapters are like a page or like 2 pages.
Yeah,
and then like there's like ones that are like 5, which is fine. But it doesn't feel like a mountain to climb.
Right. When you're
coming from someone who enjoys audiobooks more than physical books because I'm a little bit dyslexic and it just becomes like a problem.
Yeah.
So.
And I did that on purpose.
Thank you.
I wanted it to be like an easy read, not some like I've seen a lot of authors use like they try their hardest to use the biggest words possible. It's like, you don't have to do that. Like,
Make it dumb and
you
simple.
know, yeah. I want everybody to understand. It doesn't have to be like you need a college degree to read the book, you know?
So one of my questions, I was like, if Max Lewis could ask Angel a question, what would Max Lewis ask Angel?
Why haven't you made the book a movie yet? Is that a good one?
Is that a promise? Or a novella?
I need to find the right people.
Okay.
So the right person has to like it and want to do it, you know? I think it'd be a great Netflix series or regular movie for sure.
Yes.
For sure. And some of the stuff I see, I'm like, this show sucks. The book would be way better than that, you know?
I told my husband, I was like, dude, like the book is a novela. I don't know why he put it like a self-help book. This is bullshit. I'm telling you, this thing is a novela. It has all the characters. It has all the plot twists. It has like it was bad. Oh, it could not get bad worse than this. Oh, it did. Oh, okay. So how do we pull ourselves from there? And it has like a happy ending. So at the end of the book, there's like a page where it has like, who is Max Lewis? And like, giving like, whatever. It is what it is.
Let him read the book.
But it's like anybody could be Max Lewis.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
No?
No.
Why not?
Because I believe that not everybody has the same talents. Like your story is yours to own.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear that you're a negotiator, a people person. Like you're like within the framework, you are a star deal maker, someone who's very good in grounding. Like that's kind of like your zone. Not everybody is that. And it's like, well, you can learn it. Like, for example, I am great at creating ideas. Like that's my thing. Like that's my superpower. Like people talk to me, I'm like, oh, what if this and this and you put this together and like, and it's like, oh, I've never thought about it. But that's my gift.
But that's it. You just have to apply it to your own life.
But in a way, I felt like it's gonna come how it's gonna come. Like, and receive it with love. For me, I was like, I don't think you ever intended to write about Max Lewis. Like, it just became that because that was a way to, it was a way to obviously protect yourself legally.
Right.
It was a shield.
Right.
It was a persona that could it could take the punches for anything. And you could be like behind it being like, okay, maybe it's safe here. To me, it felt like an armor.
Right.
Like
that's accurate.
okay.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And when you put that at the end, I was like, that's bullshit. Like, I am not Max Lewis. I feel like the potential to use the lessons from it, it's applicable to anyone. Mm-hmm. As a hello, my name is Diana. I am a junkie of personal development. Like that's it's bad. Like it's bad where I have a lot of courses and my husband's like, another one, please. And I'm like, it's so good. You don't understand.
A lot of people do that.
But like to me, it was like, no, like not anybody could be Max Lewis. Anybody could apply Max Lewis, but I feel like.
Do you want me to add that? Anyone can apply Max.
Anybody could apply Max. Anybody could.
We can make the edit. Another edit.
Here goes fuck.
2 years later, still editing the book.
I mean, and then you sign like, bye Diana, like, that would be great. No, but honestly, to me, it was like, what a beautiful way to create good out of something that was so painful. Mm-hmm. And what a way to self-heal, to self-reflect, to all of the above. But I do feel like there's so much more in you from this part of like what you're currently doing, like supporting and living and da-da-da. Especially with what brought to me the AI thing, like the world is changing.
Right.
Like how we live is changing. I invite you to consider to document those moments where you are actually like, I never thought that I would this is possible, or like
Right.
where you're self-discovering, you're like a pioneer into like how to live in purpose, with purpose,
Right.
at 37, 38, 39, whatever. Well, no, but it's like you have something human as we live this revolution of a new intelligence that could
Right.
become a super intelligence, where we become like somebody someplace put this in perspective. It was like, if we were to create a super intelligence from AI where it becomes 1 billion times smarter than us, it could feel like, you know how we look at dogs and like it's like, oh, we're gonna leave, and the dogs are just like, they don't have the same level of intelligence as us, so we
Right.
leave the house and they're like, where did it go and what did
Right.
it do? And like you come back, and they know that you leave, but they don't know what you do with your time. They don't understand why. They don't understand why you feed them. Like AI could be us, and we're the dogs.
Yeah.
Like where
I feel like it already is.
We have no idea, but we're also being pushed to be disconnected and like not self-reflection, or like. But you're really good at creating frameworks and simplifying things. But you get to also pioneer. How do you live on purpose and with mission, and you can do it in a way that also it's grounding. Like I feel like you have the privilege of doing that for all of us who still have to work.
Thank you.
So
I still work, by the way. I just choose the things
differently,
that I want to do.
yeah. But you don't have to.
You always have to do something, because there's a cost when you don't want to do anything. You're gonna pay for it in some ways. Technically, I don't have to, but you work. I'm on the phone all day. I have to charge my phone like 3 times a day. There's gonna be so many missed calls. There's a lot of things going on, so it's just like decision making. Analyzing decision making, putting things in motion. But you still have to. It's like what is that, merry-go-round?
Yeah.
Once it starts going, you just have to get your hand in there every once in a while and like keep going. But if you don't do this, which is easy to do now, it stops. Once it stops, you have to start over. You're like, oh my
It's a
God,
lot
to get
harder.
this thing, right? So it's just better to.
It's easier to move something that is already moving that to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every once in a while, if I start a new project, it is a lot of work. You choose it, but you got to work. You got to do something.
What is taking your time right now?
Right now it's restaurants. I have a lot of restaurants, but I've been reconsidering. I had too many restaurants. It's a lot of employees. It's a lot of stuff. But yeah, the restaurants take a lot of time. It's cool because you get to work with people and help people and inspire them and help them mold them. But having a lot of employees is difficult. I have like over 200 employees in just the restaurants. So it's like, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people to employ. And there's a lot of turnover. People leave, things. There's just a lot of things. When you compare a business like that to like my lending business, there's no employees. I don't have any. And it makes probably the same amount of money, so like manage 200 people, nobody. This is kind of fun, but it's also like there's times when it's not fun, So you're like, fuck, why am I doing this?
And you wanted it to be a chef.
Yeah.
Is that why you got the restaurant?
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. I tell people, restaurant business is not for everybody. You have to enjoy it. You really got to enjoy it.
What do you enjoy about it?
I enjoy seeing people happy, smiling, enjoying food. Like, not every business is trading like money for smiles, so to speak. Some businesses, people are not happy to pay you. They need what you have, and
It's transactional.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like the people. I like the environments. I like seeing people happy and enjoying, the food that we sell, things like that. I like it.
Inside the book, you mentioned your grandpa saying that every man has to plant a tree, have a baby, and write a book. So I know that you've planted trees and you've done the book. When are the babies coming?
I don't know. It's God's timing. I thought they would have come by now. I guess I had to learn some more things first.
Okay.
Hopefully soon.
Oh, my friend, thank you so much.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And
My pleasure.
it was so much fun to talk to you, to learn more about what you do. And I would like for you to leave the audience with some sort of message. What would you like to tell them?
Read the book and leave a review.
You heard him, guys.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. Like, people only leave reviews when they're mad. You know, like you know how many people have like, they'll stop me in the street or message me or send me a message like on LinkedIn or something. Or, hey, my cousin read your book. He's in Spain. He loved it. He's using it for his business. You know, like, I hear all the time, and I'm like, can you ask him to leave a review? Like, nobody leaves a review. It's insane. It's crazy. Or they'll text me. I got last night. I went to the Miami Open. The guy's like, by the way, I read your book. I would have never thought this guy read my book. I read your book. I loved it. He read it because he was quoting to me everything. And I was like, did you leave a review? He's like, no. I was like,
Why should I?
Can you leave a review? It's just so funny to me. I'm like, bro, it never fails. There's like thousands of people read the book. I have like 130 reviews on Amazon. I'm like, come on, man. Because that's what helps.
I'll leave a review.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, and I'm inviting you to read a review. And if you would like to ask him a question, leave it in the comments of the video, because I would love to follow up with this guy and a few maybe. You don't know.
Babies here.
But thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
It was so much fun.
Thanks.